Let's go ahead and graph an ellipse. We know this is an ellipse because we have a sum of squares with a 1 on the right. If we had a difference of squares with a 1 on the right, we'd be dealing with a hyperbola. So I find the easiest way to graph these is to find intercepts. So this ellipse is centered right at the origin. And if I eliminate the x, so if I put in a 0 for x, I see that y has to be plus or minus 5. So those will be the y-intercepts, plus 5 and minus 5. And now let's eliminate the y to find the x-intercepts. So we plug in y equals 0, multiply by 9, and we're going to get that x is equal to plus or minus 3. Another way to think about this is to go under the x's and go horizontally from the center. And this is centered at 0 because this is simply x and simply y. If it was x minus 5 and y plus 2, the center would not be the origin. So if you do have a center of the origin, you can go right and left 3 and go right and top and up and down 5. So you can look under the y's to figure out your vertical movement from the center. You can look under the x's to figure out your horizontal movement from the center. And then we connect the dots. This will be our ellipse. The major axis is vertical. The major axis is the longer axis. It's under the bigger numbers under the y's, so we have a vertical axis here as our major axis. And now if we want to find the foci, the way we find the foci is to figure out what the value c is. C is going to measure the distance from the origin out to a focus. So c squared will equal the difference in the denominators. And c is always a positive number, so I'll take the positive square root. And that tells us that our foci are 4 units from the center, which is right there. So the foci have coordinates 0, plus or minus 4. And that's an ellipse. Kaboom!